there's realignment going on right now. More realignment.
More realignment.
Pac-12 looks like it's going to get halfway absorbed into the Big 12, and they just need to get away. They need to do away with the numbers entirely at this point. Like you're not going to be the Big 12. You're not the Big 10 any longer. Think of something else. Either change your numbers to mean what they say, or just get rid of them altogether. Because now it's going to be like 18 teams maybe in the Big 12, and if you're going to do 18 teams, you should just do 20 teams, and you should divide it into conferences and then have a 2-round conference championship tournament. We have a semifinal against 2 divisions and then a final championship game to determine the winner of that conference. Just do 20 teams.
Well, I disagree with I think the Big Ten should keep their name forever, and I hope it gets to like 30 teams because that would be funny. And like, why would they change now? It's been 14 teams forever, and they still have been the Big Ten. And now it's 16. I do agree though. Like it feels like we're just going to end up with, and I know everyone's upset and I get it because we talked about this on Thursday. It sucks to lose like certain brands of football. I love the different conferences and their different feels, but it does feel like we're going to end up with the SEC and the Big Ten. And it's just going to be like AFC, NFC. And you play like, if they both end up with 24 teams, then you just have divisions of 6 teams. You play your division every year and then you play a different division. And then you have a semifinal and a playoff in the Big Ten. And then you have a semifinal and a playoff in the SEC. And then those 2 teams play each other and we call it the Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's what's so perfect about doing, like breaking these down into having semifinals and finals. Like, listen, we know that we love football. Professional football has, in my opinion, the best postseason. I know you guys like bowl games, which I do too, but NFL postseason is amazing. Just do that format in college football. Everybody, the whole hand wringing for the last 20 years, like, oh, I don't know if the fans are going to want a playoff. Fuck you. Yes, we do want a playoff. It would be incredible. There's literally no downside to having a playoff. Division 1 AA, now FCS, they figured it out a long time ago. They're able to do a playoff. It fucking kicks ass.
Correct.
Do it at the highest level. Like, we're going to love it. Stop pretending that we're not going to like it, because we will.
And then do it. Have the Big Ten and the SEC be the 2 mega conferences, and have every other conference combine into a different league that plays for a playoff as well. And then we have relegation, and we're fine. How electric would that be? If you're like, if you're an Oklahoma State fan, you're like, hey, if we win this other mega conference, we're now in the SEC. And then you kick out. I mean, like the Vandy's of the world would just be gone forever. They just drop and never come back. But it'd be great to watch and have like those, like, if you want the argument about college football, which I always agree with, is like, it does feel like every game matters because one loss would kind of kick you out of the playoff. So why not have every game matter where a few losses kicks you out of the top division?
You know what I've been thinking? Like, what if there was that relegation? And to use your Oklahoma State analogy, what if Oklahoma State could beat Oklahoma and force Oklahoma to be relegated while Oklahoma State got moved up into like the SEC? How sweet of an occasion would that be for the alumni of that school and for the students to do the worst, like put your most hated rival in the most misery possible because of a football game.
Right.
That's what sports is about.
And they would still play big time football the next year because they'd just be in like basically a division of everyone who got left out of the ACC, Big 12, and Pac 12. Like, those are some really good teams still. And I don't know. I feel like it would be weird, but I think it would work and it would be fun. We're going to have Andy Staples on Monday's show to break it all down. But I'm also thinking the big news is, like, I think Notre Dame finally, after forever, is going to have to join the Big Ten, which I'm excited.
I don't think they are. I don't think they are, because there's going to be a ton of money thrown at them. There's going to be so much money, but Notre Dame absolutely loves having the power.
Of course.
Like, we're going to play our own schedule. We're going to pick our opponents in the weeks that we want them, and our brand is big enough that it's actually good that we're able to do this. I don't think they need to be in a conference, which it's one of those quirks about college football that, like, it makes no sense, and it might not be the fairest way to do it, but it's just kind of like college football is a sport that has largely been like, this is the way that it's always been done. And that's why it is the way that it is right now. That's kind of their explanation for everything. And they used to be able to just get away with it all the time. But now there's just too much money, and the realignment is forcing people's hands to actually have to make progressive changes. But with Notre Dame, they can just be like, no, you know what? I think I'm good. I think, this is the way we've always done it, so that's the way we're going to do it.
But if it becomes so, the reason the alternate side of it is Notre Dame has always stayed out because of money and TV. Now the money and TV has become like the Big Ten or the SEC can offer more money and more TV than Notre Dame on their own can. That's just like a fact. They are the new TV deal that the Big Ten is going to do is going to fucking be insane. And if the Big Ten and SEC are the only two mega conferences, they then get to decide the playoff, and they could just be like, you guys aren't invited. Like Notre Dame, you're not invited because you're not in our conference. Like, you know what I mean? They hold that power where I think Notre Dame will eventually have to just be like, all right. And it always has made sense for them to be in the Big Ten. It would be great. They already have rivalries with like half of the Big Ten. So why not do it? Actually, they have rivalries with all the Big Ten now because USC's in it. All the all we got to do is add Navy to the fucking Big Ten, and then Notre Dame can't be like, no, we lose our rivalry games.
If it gets to that point where it's like you have to be in the Big Ten to make the playoff, then yes, that's
right.
what will make
that's what
Notre
I think's
Dame.
Gonna happen.
But they might do that bullshit thing that they did a couple years ago, where they're like, you know what, we're going to consider ourselves part of the ACC for a year, like that whole thing. Like we're going to play an ACC schedule. They could do something like that, but I think that they have turned down more money before.
Yeah, but this is going to be insane money, and I just think that this is like if I had to bet right now in the next 5 years, I think Notre Dame will be in the Big Ten.
If the conferences get into some sort of a playoff format that would make it like a necessity to be in the Big Ten, then yes, they'll do it. Besides that, I'll take over 5 years.
Okay, I think they would do it even without that stipulation. I think it's like everything's changing so rapidly and the money's getting so ridiculous that I think it's going to end up being they're just going to have to do it. And it will be great. It's like such a natural fit. You know what I mean? It's when everyone's saying like, how are we going to do the USC and UCLA? There's all the way on the West Coast. Fucking Notre Dame's in Indiana. Like they should be in the Big Ten. It makes sense.
Yeah. How do you think Bill Walton's taking the news?
Not well.
Conference of Champions.
I should say, has he heard the news yet?
I think he's heard the news
because he's in off-season mode, so he might not have heard the news.
I think he definitely has, like, his wife probably has like Google alerts set up for anything just related to the Pac-12.
Yeah, just like, Bill, did you hear this? And then he needs a moment.
Now the question is, I don't think the question is has Bill Walton heard the news yet. The question is, has Bill Walton forgotten the news yet?
Correct. He probably has absorbed it and then released it out into the world.
Well, that's good. That's good.
Yeah, it's all one song.